What's up, my comic book nerds? Here to do a quick video for you for affordable keys for underneath $50. I've been collecting comic books for about 8 months now. I kind of got back into it. Let's see, I went to 2019 Comic Con and kind of got the itch. Now we're in about March 2020 at the moment. So let's get started. First comic book I have up on my special short box is Days of Future Present, X-Men number 14. Now this is actually a cameo appearance of Gambit. It kind of shares the first appearance of, actually I have it right here, of X-Men, Uncanny X-Men number 266, which is the first appearance, full appearance of Gambit. This comic book right now will set you back anywhere between $150 to $200 depending on the condition that you want. I think I picked mine up for about $130. However, I always say if you can't afford the full appearance, go for the second, or go for a second appearance, or go for a cameo appearance. And that's where this is a great example of Days of Future Present, X-Men number 14, the cameo of Gambit. This one was $45. However, the store was having a 50% off sale. So I was able to pick up this comic book in a near mint condition for 23 bucks. With all the X-Men hype coming up, I would strongly encourage trying to find this book and picking it up and getting into your collection. Second book that I would recommend, Thor number 1, God of Thunder. This is actually Jane Foster's first appearance as Thor, female Thor. A lot of people do get it confused with What If number 10. When she picks up and wheels Mjolnir, but I will say that is a continuing story off of Thor itself. That is not her first appearance. This is considered her first appearance. I believe this is a really hot book and should be picked up immediately. I want to say I got this one for around $30. There's a lot of hype around the next Thor movie coming out with the MCU talk. Not just that, but with all the female LGBTQ and all the other news revolving around all that, I would also strongly encourage picking this one up as well, just because of those reasonings. Plus, the storyline within this one is really cool. She actually, I don't want to give it away. If you're interested in reading it, I'll let you read it. But the storyline within itself is actually a phenomenal storyline. The next comic book I would strongly recommend picking up as well, Hulk number 1. This is the first appearance of Red Hulk. Now, Sergeant Ross has actually, been around some of the MCUs already and has gotten a hold of the serum, and there's a lot of talk about him making his first appearance in the Black Widow movie coming up here shortly. So it's be real interesting to see what happens. I think I got this one for about 35 bucks. It's slowly creeping up at the moment. I would probably say this comic book is probably around the $50 range. Surprisingly, I got this one for 35 for 9.6. But I mean, I would say for a soft back issue, you probably get it around $30 to $50 on the high end. But I would strongly encourage picking up. I think there's a lot of opportunity with this one to pick up. The next one I would tell you to pick up, and I strongly encourage you to pick it up, is Avengers Annual number 10. This is actually the first appearance of Rogue, who I think is completely underrated, and I think this comic book is completely underrated. I got this comic book for $45 at 2019. My brother bought it for me for my birthday at the 2019 Comic Con. Picked it up for 40 bucks, got it signed by Michael Golden, and got it CGC'd. I want to say this comic book right now has about $110 into it with the purchase, CGC, and autograph. However, I've seen this comic book for $35. I would tell you to jump on this comic book immediately. There is speculation, rumor, and talk that Rogue will be joining Miss Marvel in the next Miss Marvel movie. I think she's one of the most powerful mutants in the MCU, Marvel, DC, whatever you want, however you want to categorize it. I think she's by far the best, strongest, and worthy enough mutant out there, and I think she's completely underrated. I think this comic book is completely underrated, and I can see this comic book blowing up. So if I would say now is the time to get it. Again, I've seen this comic book for anywhere between $35 to $40 in a pretty decent condition. I would say if you go for a near mint or a high grade, you're probably pushing somewhere around 90 to 100 bucks, which is still ridiculously cheap for this comic book. I would jump on it. And finally, the last book I have for you, again, highly recommend jumping on it. Incredible Hulk number 449. This is the first appearance of the Thunderbolts. We all know that there's been high talk about Thunderbolts and entering the MCU. I think it's a pretty serious deal at this point. I strongly encourage picking this book up. I actually got this book for $120 on a 9.6 rating off of eBay. However, my brother just got one yesterday for $34 back issue. So you can get, and that was in a near mint condition. That was a phenomenal piece. So I would say under $50 you can find this comic book at your local comic book store. Most likely eBay, they're a little bit higher than 50, but I think if you do some digging, do some research, you can find this book for under $50. But I would jump on it now and jump on it immediately. This also has a whole Red Hulk Thunderbolts tie-in, and who knows what's going to happen now with the MCU. So they got to introduce new characters, younger characters, and now the Endgame is kind of set off a whole bunch of different aspects, different stories. I really think this one is going to take off. So again, we have the annuals, Avengers Annual 10 and the Incredible Hulk 449, which would be my two strong opinions on picking up immediately. So I hope that helps you guys. Take it easy.